This is Twit.
But what we got in the foreground is something special. So look at this. I'm telling you, this guy has got it going on. Tom Daniels, greetings to you, and we appreciate you being on here. Where are you and your call and all that kind of stuff there, Tom?
Well, you're welcome, Bob. And my call is N3CXP. And my name is Tom, and we're in Allentown, Pennsylvania, over here on the eastern side of the state.
Well, I got fascinated by a couple of the emails we had that you've built a pine board, but you didn't build a pine board. You built a pine metal. You did the pine board transmitter, but you did it on metal. So take the floor and walk us through that a little bit.
All
There's
right.
some
Wow.
shots.
Very good. That looks better than the one that's sitting right here on the shelf, Bob. Well, I decided to put it on an aluminum chassis because I figured I would have some future expansion capability as well as some safety considerations. I thought it would be nice to do it in aluminum and leave room perhaps for a final amplifier on it as well as 160 meters someday. So I found myself a chassis from Newark Element, and it was pretty cheap. It was actually a fairly light duty aluminum chassis, and I went ahead and I built it, and I added a few things to it, Bob. I made it dual band. I put a couple of crystal sockets on it, and added a 12-volt DC power supply to power some internal relays and an external Dow key relay, and then added a 2-gang wafer switch. We'll get into what that was for, and a more robust variable capacitor in case I ever, in the final L network, in case I added a final amplifier stage to it. And I provided the equalization bypass so I could use my audio chain. I've got a pretty modern audio chain. I got into AM a few years ago, and so I have a Symmetrix equalizer as well as an Innovonics peak limiter. So I have that ability to do it there, Bob. The double pole or the relays switch the B plus and isolate it from the small little switch for safety. And then another relay on here helps with muting and connecting to my Dow key relay. And then I also have a relay that switches bands between 40 and 80 meters. And that's about it, Bob.
Well, it sure looks good. I think there's a view of the bottom of it too that Vic can bring up. Really nice work, and we can see the relay up there in the left-hand corner.
Yeah, that's the antenna switching relay, and then the little 12-volt power supply is kind of mounted on some studs in the sort of the right lower quadrant.
Yeah. Well, that's great, Tom, and I'm sure you enjoy getting on AM with that as well as your Ranger. And I think we had a audio clip of that if we were able to get it up to Vic. Here's an audio clip that you did of the pine board. So Vic, let's hear that while we're watching this video, like we're watching this slide.
This is N3CXP. Okay, I'll do an audio test here of the Heil pine board transmitter here, driving an Ameritron AL572 with about 5 watts of drive for about 40 watts of output, listening on the K3 FEF mobile, or rather web SDR here, about 59 miles north of our location in Allentown, PA. So this is an audio test, and by comparison, we're going to try the Viking Ranger here. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 with about 20 watts of driver, 170 watts of carrier with full fidelity audio and plate modulated. N3CXP.
All right, that's great. Sounds great. And of course, the Ranger, Rangers are always good, and you put your audio chain in front of it, and that's the way it should be. And so for all the gang that's on AM, why I'm sure they recognize that. There's a full view of the shack, and boy, nice stuff. Really, really nice, Tom. And what is that? KWM 75S2 or 3? Is that what that line is?
Yeah, it's a 75S3 and a 32S3 pair over there.
Yeah,
and
great.
There's some other AM gear. There's a Super Senior down there in the rack, and the Ranger, of course, and then the audio chain. And the next project is to plate modulate an AC-1 that I built in 1971 when I was in high school. So that's sitting on the bench, and that'll be the next project.
That's what we did here on the show a few weeks back, and built the kit, and then I modulated it with a 730. Well, thanks so much for coming on, and keep us posted for anything that you're going to come up with to add to your Pineboard chassis. We'd love to see what you're going to do, and there's a lot of folks watching that have done that, and maybe they'll take your lead and do some extra to there. So appreciate you coming. I really do, Tom. We'll catch you on AM very soon, okay?
Thank you, Bob. It was a pleasure. See you later.
All right. Thanks a lot. 7-3. Well, there you go, gang. It's just what they do with this stuff. You never know who's building what, but we all started it here, and we're very excited about some of the things. Every one of these shows that I go to, there's always a lot. We're talking sometimes dozens of guys and gals that bring pictures and talk about their Pineboard excursions. So that's wonderful. Really appreciate all of that, and I know that all of you like to see all that kind of good stuff.